Hello there, and welcome to the 100th episode of the Outside Film Podcast, where we talk
Wow.
film, TV, games, and all that jazz like there's no tomorrow. This week, we're talking about Lightyear. My name is Tom, and as always, I'm joined with my co-host, John. How are you for our 100th episode?
Yeah, it's crazy. 100th episode.
Insane.
Wow. And I'm feeling great.
Cool. Okay, so we'll talk more about 100 episodes at the end, but for now, Lightyear. Briefly explain the plot for those who don't know.
All right. Google, don't let me down.
Come on, Google it. It's our 100th episode.
Okay. Legendary space ranger Buzz Lightyear embarks on intergalactic adventure alongside ambitious recruits Izzy, Mo, Darby, and his robot companion Socks. As his motley crew tackles their toughest mission yet, they must learn to work together as a team to escape the evil Zurg and his dutiful robot army that are never far behind.
Aha. Okay, so full spoilers from here on out. So
Full
if you haven't
spoilers,
seen
yes.
Lightyear and you want to go and see it, I mean, we've covered every Pixar film since Soul on the podcast, so it seemed fitting that we do Lightyear as well.
Yeah.
What did you think? This film, it's kind of a Toy Story film. It's kind of like, its own thing. Like what did you think?
I'm still processing it. I'm just like trying to think, because I just saw it yesterday. There's a lot that was involved in this whole film. Like some elements of time travel, some elements of like Buzz's character. And I mean, it was a lot. I mean, I don't know. It was just like a really compacted film. You know what I mean? Like there's so much things happening. And there was this one annoying character then in like, it was just Socks. Socks was just talking all the time. That's my criticism. It's just like Socks was just talking all the time.
Okay, so I watched this a while ago, and honestly, I came out of it like, yeah, it was all right. But I think ever since, my thoughts about it have just kind of gone. I just don't think this film was doomed from the start. This film, like, just being a Buzz Lightyear film, that's a lot. That's a lot of expectation you're putting on yourself. That's a lot of pressure that this film has. And I just don't think it justifies itself. I really was just kind of like, okay, so the first 20 minutes of this film, it was like Interstellar. Like every time Buzz would come back from his hyperspace trip, he would come back and everybody be a bit older, and you get this montage, of everybody growing older while Buzz is still hell-bent on trying to fix his mistake. And I was like, wow, this film is going to be like interesting sci-fi. It's not going to be just like anything generic. This is going to be really cool. This is going to be Pixar's Interstellar. Oh my God, this is going to be great. And then the rest of the movie happened. I was just like, oh no. This is so incredibly average.
Yeah, I was about to say that, like it was getting really interesting with the Interstellar idea of like, Buzz actually trying to go home and finish the mission. But it was just so depressing. It was just like seeing his family grow up, and while he was still young, and yeah, it was really, really powerful, that bit. But then what the heck happened during the rest? When Socks just arrived there, just got given by Alicia, I knew there was something wrong. I was like, oh, Socks. Okay. And yeah, I
you didn't like Socks, did you?
No, I did not. He was just so annoying. He was like, oh, Buzz, beep, 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 beep. Like, shut up.
Yeah, no, I get that. I do think that like every time, especially in that Interstellar montage, Socks really did cut a lot of the emotions. But like that is like you could have made a whole film about that montage and like have Buzz go through an entire character arc through that sequence, but instead they literally just had it for, I don't know, like a 2-minute montage. Honestly, it's a real waste because everything after that, it doesn't do anything. Like this film could have gone. Okay, so the premise of this film is that the toy Buzz Lightyear in universe is based off a film. The film opens with this really, really, I thought, kind of powerful opening word saying, in 1995, a boy named Andy bought a toy based on his favorite movie, and this is that movie. And I don't think that any kid would watch this and be like, oh my God, I need that toy. Like Buzz doesn't even wear the Buzz Lightyear suit like properly for the most of the film. And he's kind of like a bit of a like bumbling protagonist, and I'm all for having a flawed protagonist, but like you can't expect me to believe that like the Andy's gonna be like, oh yeah, this is the coolest thing, like this Buzz Lightyear is incredible, look at him, like he does all these incredible things, when in the film itself Buzz is not very likable and not even like an action hero or anything like that. He's just kind of there.
Yeah, yeah. As I think about that, like when I saw those opening words on the screen, I was like, oh, all right. We're getting to that like whole idea of like, it's Toy Story and then the toys based off the character. And I was thinking throughout the film, like, so as you just said, like Bob's not very Bob. Buzz. Buzz is not very likable.
Bob Lightyear. Hell
Bob
yeah.
Lightyear.
The
Yeah.
true space ranger.
And he was just not very nice to everyone. Like, oh, just leave me alone. I can do this alone and do this mission. And I was like, oh, so is this like a direct like characterization in Toy Story? Like how Buzz did not realize he was a toy, but he was doing things alone, as you can see. And it kind of reflected the moment when Buzz was trying to fly in Toy Story, to that window, and
Oh
he
yeah.
fell. That what kind of reminded me. I was like, oh, okay. So it's kind of hard for them to do like a whole movie based on one toy.
Yeah, they
And that
really
was,
should have. They should have embraced Toy Story more. You think about
yeah,
how much of like a space ranger he is in that first movie, even the way that he talks and everything. And in this
no
film, they
intelligent
take
life.
yeah, exactly. They take the whole like, no, the air is breathable, like that kind of like monologue that he does. They turn that into a bit of like a joke, and not in the way that it's a joke in the first film, but in a way that like the other characters, literally in the first scene when Buzz is speaking to himself, you literally then have Alicia like, are you talking to yourself again? And it's like, embraced it. This is supposed to be a film from the 90s, and it feels like a film from 2022. I want a film that is
Yeah,
completely wrapped up in itself, that doesn't like, the comedy isn't intentional, it isn't fourth wall breaking. It is like, because all the characters are so wrapped up in the universe. Like, one of the biggest disappointments to me was Zurg in Toy
yeah.
Story 2.
Oh
There
no.
is an amazing moment where Buzz is like, you killed my father, and Zurg is like, no, Buzz, I am your
I am
father.
your father.
They do
No.
yeah, they do the Empire Strikes Back thing, right? And in this,
Yeah.
they just don't do that.
No.
Why?
I thought that'd be so funny. Like they could
Yeah.
have done like the whole thing from Toy Story 2. And that was amazing, that moment, by the way. You should
Mm.
watch that. That great moment. And they could have done that. I was like, oh, wait, they're doing the father thing? Like, and then Buzz was like, no, look at your dog tag. And it was like, oh, it's you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Zurg open, like his like suit opens up. First of all, it's terrible. What is that? Like it's like a giant robot. Like in in Toy Story, Zurg is like, it's just such a different look. He's long and slender with like a giant gun, and like he's got like these like terrifying kind of like collar. Like it's so intense. But in this, he's just a robot, I guess.
Don't worry about, yeah.
But
Um,
he comes out of the suit, and Buzz is like, oh my god, Dad. And I was like, yes.
yes.
And then Zurg was like, no, I'm actually you from the future. And it was like, what?
It, it,
What?
it doesn't make sense, by the way, the whole future
Okay.
thing. So how? So basically, Buzz, I don't know, past Buzz, I think when he also space traveled, went back to that planet 22 years later, I think. And
Yeah.
then it was a week before the robots came. So then
Mhm.
Buzz again went back in time, I don't know, in the future, in the far future, and then met this robot thingy. And then you said he borrowed it, and then he went back in time.
What? So there was just a
That is
robot
the most
armada
laziest thing
just
I've ever
floating
heard.
in space. Where did he get the army? It's just there. Like, excuse me? Like, I can't believe that Toy Story 2 opens up with this section from a Buzz Lightyear video game, and it is
Wait,
so cool. It begins with like just space, something really far away is moving really fast, and we cut to it, and it's Buzz Lightyear, and he's flying, and he's got like he's going so fast that he's like burning up in his entry to the atmosphere, and he lands on the planet, and he has to go through all of these sentries, and he's like running through corridors with like spikes, and he eventually meets Zurg in this room. It's incredibly Empire Strikes Back, and this film just doesn't evoke anything similar to that vibe. And I just like, this film is just, it's just cashing in on Toy Story in the worst possible way.
I'm pretty sure they don't, introduce some of the concepts of Buzz's actual suit, if you know what I mean. He had a laser on his arm.
Yeah, he's got a laser on his arm, and in this they give him like a gun on his arm, but it's not the same. Well, he doesn't get the actual Buzz Lightyear suit. Yeah, he's got a sword as well. Like, when did, like, what?
The sword? Yeah, when did the sword come in? Like,
I'm sure. I think the sword would have been
edition sword in 1995.
Well, okay, in Toy Story 2. Now, a lot of what I'm saying is based on Toy Story 2, because Toy Story 2 really does explore Buzz Lightyear's kind of mythos. In Toy Story 2, you see the new model of Buzz Lightyear. He's got like a magnet belt, and he's got like this like whole like new set of things. Why wasn't that in the film? Like, come on, you're promising us a film which, is actually like this canon of Buzz Lightyear that's been teased across the Toy Story films, a film that's supposed to come out in the 90s, a film that, is based off like most people's favorite toy from like the actual, like, if you buy a toy from Toy Story, Buzz Lightyear is the best one to get. He's got the wings, he's got the talking, he's got the karate chop action, he's got all these fun things, and they just don't use half of it. I don't even like, do they use the glow in the dark suit? Probably not.
No.
Like,
did they use the buzzes, in Toy Story 3 when he could change languages?
Do they use Spanish mode?
Spanish in dire emergencies. Oh no.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, like they have this function on the suits where instead of wings, you push the button and it becomes like a raspberry, like a protective shell. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Why
yeah,
you give
that
him wings?
shell.
Yeah, right?
Oh yeah.
Why don't you give him wings? It just like, I feel like Buzz Lightyear as a character, Buzz and Zurg are the big things in this movie that I spent the whole time just like, why? What a waste.
Yeah. And oh my god, there were so many things that are left out. Like, I know they were trying to do with Izzy's character arc and Buzz's character arc, but they're just so weak, if you know what I mean. Like, I get that space is scary for Izzy. She just flies through and then like saves. Wait, what? Yeah, she does save Buzz. And that's it. I guess that's character arc. And then Buzz's character arc was like, don't do this alone, and he's trying to reject everyone else. At the end, he tries to save everyone. Oh, and by the way, the whole joke with the Wookiee, you know what I mean, at the beginning.
Yes. Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he just left off mysteriously. He was like, "Oh, do you need help, Buzz?" He was like, "No, I don't need any help."
All the side characters were in. I would say that the best side characters are probably Alicia and Izzy. I think at the very least, Buzz's relationship with Alicia was very believable. And as I said, you do feel it when she's getting old and he's staying the same, and he eventually sees her dead. Like, that is genuinely like emotional. And I think the way that the Izzy builds off that is good. But you're right, like the character arcs come out of nowhere, and they never really take the time to do anything, because they also have Darby and Mo, two of the worst. Like, I'm getting sick of Taika Waititi, man.
Oh,
like,
my god, yes, same.
Like, if you listen to our Love and Thunder or Ragnarok episodes, you'll know that like we're fans of his work, but God, he's getting annoying. Like Korg, his character in Free Guy, Mo spends the entire film talking about a pen. Why?
I don't know. As I heard like his voice, I was like, oh no, it's Taika. It's Taika. So damn. Yeah, I was just so annoyed by him as well. Like, there was nothing, no backstory. He was just like running around talking about pens. Does anyone need a pen? Does anyone need a pen? And like,
it was Chekhov's pen. It really was Chekhov's pen, and it's like,
oh my god, it was.
Do they even use the pen at the end? I can't remember.
Yes, they did.
Oh, okay. Is it when they're crashing, I think?
Yes. And then somebody in the background, I don't know, it was Darby, I think, yeah. She was like, I need a pen or screwdriver. And then Taika's character was like, pen! And just like screaming at the top of his lungs. And I was like sitting there in the cinema, I was crying my head off. I was like, no, why did this happen to me?
Honestly, the Toy Story films have some of the most memorable side characters. You've got Mr. Potato Head, you got Ham, you got Slinky, you got Rex, you got Jesse, you got Bullseye, you got so many characters. You have Forky, like I'm literally sitting in front of a model Forky that I got for Christmas one year. And literally, it's like, the one. And literally, it's like,
yeah.
How do we go from that to this, where you have the most insufferable side characters, who aren't unique or interesting? Like the whole fun thing about Toy Story is that, yeah, sure, you've got some human toys, but most of the toys, they're based off animals or food or really interesting things and classic toys. And in this, everyone's just boring and human and nothing interesting. And the only interesting thing is Socks, but as you said, Socks is just annoying.
Yeah, he was just like, hey Buzz, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop,
beep boop. Hey Buzz,
beep,
I
boop.
figured out the special thing that
I figured
nobody
out
else.
the
I got the
formula,
algorithm,
guys.
I did it.
I don't know why. I thought there would be one spooky backstory for Socks. When the people who were trying to decommission Socks, what I mean? They knock on the door and they're like, "Oh, we need to decommission Socks." I was like, "Oh, I wonder why." This whole spooky thing. I wonder if Socks was sent from the future and then used this whole idea. It was like a bootstrap paradox, if you know what I mean. Socks came from the future, but who was it? And then that would be really interesting to find out. And then it was Zurg. Oh my god! And Zurg is actually the father, not Buzz. And that would be really interesting because he had the formula the whole time, but who invented the formula in the first place?
That's pretty interesting, because that's so much better than just, oh yeah, this robot cat that we gave you literally just to give you therapy has managed to figure out the thing that nobody else did. And it's like, you've introduced time travel, and the most interesting thing you can think to do is have the villain be Buzz from the future, even though that's not what anyone really wants or cares about. I think that, yeah, you're right, that would have been so much more interesting use of that. And they introduced this kind of admiral guy who's like, we're gonna make a laser shield. And
laser shield, guys. Laser shield.
It is like he does nothing. There's no Buzz comes back and finding out that Alicia is dead, and it's been taken over by this new management. There's barely any tension for that after he escapes for the first time. The whole thing is just what I mean, to talk positive about this film, like all Pixar films, it looks amazing. The cinematography is great. It has a really good sense of scale and speed in the action sequences. I think there are some really effective ones, at the end when they're all working together and Buzz uses the wings for the first time. It was cool, even though that should have been the whole film. The acting was top notch. All these things really did come together, but the story just really was so lackluster.
And there was nothing so interesting about the story. It was just so generic. Robots came, we don't know why. Laser shield. We can't get access to the laser shield. The most stupidest thing I ever thought. Okay, so at the end when Buzz was getting attacked, he was in the ship, he was trying to save his friends as they're free falling down to this planet. Yeah. And Zurg comes down nowhere, was Lightyear log, I don't know, it was something as he getting this formula, and then Buzz decides to do this out of nowhere, shoot the formula thingy, and it was oh, okay, we'll go home then. He was just it just broke my brain. I was why did you explode that? You could have used it to go back home to finish the mission. You got everyone's together, and you're the hero. No, they're stuck in this planet. No, nobody wants that, because they got that, that stalk thingy, that grabs people. Just like that. No one wants to live in that.
That's why they have a laser gate.
Laser gate.
But it's okay, so Buzz goes through this arc where he's you know what? there is no point in going home, like, because we've done something really good here. We can't change what happened because Alicia would lose her family and all these things, and that would work. But again, they shove all the time where Buzz sees these things. They put it in a montage. I mean, once again, Pixar does the whole thing, or Disney does the whole thing of, oh guys, look, it's a gay kiss, and it's literally just Alicia and
Oh,
her wife just like kissing, like pecking each other on the cheek or whatever. Point being that you don't actually get to see these moments and really like understand them, because the film really shifts gears after its first act and just decides to do something completely different and out of the blue and unnecessary.
oh, I'm gonna shoot this fuel that was gonna help us save, and then it explodes Zurg.
How do the sequences in Toy Story, the opening of Toy Story 2 and 3 specifically, the sequences where we see the Buzz video game, or we see Andy playing when he's got that whole, the opening of Toy Story 3
Yeah, of
on
course.
the train, like where the train falls and Buzz like lifts it up. How do you have all of that so creative and inventive and fun? And those could just act as their own films in general. And yeah, this is what you do with the Lightyear movie. Like, what a disappointment.
I was just sitting there in the cinema, just hearing Taika's character, and then Sox's character is like beep boop beep boop, and talking about pens. Buzz was like, "Hey guys, I need to do this alone." I mean, that's not my impression. I'm just doing this as I can because the film had Chris Evans as Lightyear.
Chris Evans was good though, I would say.
He was actually, yeah.
Like the actors all did good jobs with it, James Brolin, Keke Palmer, all that, like even Taika Waititi. At the end of the day, he's just reading a script.
Who voiced Zurg?
James Brolin, Josh Brolin's dad.
Oh, I knew it kind of sounded like a Brolin. I was like, is that Josh Brolin? Kind of sounded like him.
Yeah. I definitely thought, like, throughout the film, I was like, oh, it's giving me some Thanos vibes over here. But yeah, like I just don't think that this film was always gonna be disappointing. Like the Toy Story films are pretty perfect, like even Toy Story 4 was a really, really well done and satisfying end to the franchise.
Yeah.
But they couldn't recreate that magic, could they?
No, they couldn't. Like, there's nothing magic. Like, no film could be that magical. Well, I think there's other films, but like in the Pixar universe, there's nothing magical as WALL-E or Toy Story. Like, those are really amazing films that are really magical. Lightyear, everybody wants to talk about Lightyear. Like,
yeah, I don't know if I'd ever watch this again, and this is becoming a really kind of sad thing about Pixar. So we've talked about Soul and Luca and Turning Red and Lightyear, and I kind of think that these days Pixar just don't hit it anymore. Like, each of the films that we've done on the podcast have been, not as good as the last, and it's a real shame, because Pixar, as you just said, remember WALL-E and Ratatouille and The Incredibles and Monsters Inc. and Toy Story and these just incredible films. And now I just don't really know. I don't really get anything from the films anymore.
Depression.
Depression.
Yeah, depression. The music, not as memorable. Like,
no.
I wonder if they use Buzz's theme from Toy Story into this one.
They don't. I was listening very intently.
That's a double downer. That's a double downer right there.
It's Michael Giacchino, though.
Again?
Yes, it's Giacchino.
Bro, and he's getting stacks. He's getting stacks of money. And he's doing like these films, and he's like, okay, the Batman, I'll do the Batman, and the rest I'll do the crap. No, I'm kidding.
It's like, we all know that he is amazing at what he does, and his scores are wonderful. But if I think about what he's done recently, I'll read you a couple.
Oh, no.
So we had No Way Home, we had The Batman, we had Jurassic World Dominion, we had Love and Thunder, and we had Lightyear. And out of all of those, the only one that is that memorable is The Batman. The Batman score is incredible. We all know that. But all the others are just like boring. And it's, again, Randy Newman's Toy Story scores are amazing. It makes us all
so
cry.
Memorable as well. Yeah,
exactly. And then you swap that out for this. Like Buzz's theme. I'm thinking of it right now, and it sends chills down my spine. Buzz's theme in Toy Story films is amazing. And this is just another just generic like action movie score.
They could have done
Oh,
like
what a
something like nostalgic vibes for the 90s. Like they could have like
yeah,
done Western type music because it was like space. It was like sci-fi, if you know what I
yeah.
mean. Like it was Buzz like trying to, save everybody and go home and do some stuff. Like, if the story was changed and like make it a bit more interesting and no annoying side characters.
It really, really is painful. What are you gonna give it out of 10?
For
Yeah, I agree. 4. What a big shame. And it sucks that this has to be our 100th episode as well. But we okay, so if you're listening to this on our 100th episode, you will know that Comic Con didn't go the way we wanted it to. But if you're listening to the 100th episode and we're talking about Comic Con, it means that we decided to do that instead because the rumor is that Henry Cavill is going to come back as Superman. And if that happens, we're doing that as a 100th episode instead. We're going to re-record it and we'll release this at a different point. But still, this isn't the best thing to be talking about for a 100th episode. But I do have to
yeah,
say, thank you everyone for listening. Leave a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you want to see more. And I mean, wow, 100 episodes. We literally, it's been a blast.
yes.
We have talked about some amazing films and some really bad films,
Oh
but
no.
at the end of the day, it has been like such a blast. And I got to thank you everybody who has listened. And if anybody has listened from earlier on, like from 2020 or 2021, thank you. Like the podcast has become so much better, through me editing it and like us just getting better at talking about films. I feel like I'm so proud of what we've done, and I've got to thank
Yeah.
everyone. I've got to thank you, John. Thank you for being the
Oh
co-host.
man, no,
I
thank
gotta
you. You being
ah
great as well,
thank you.
man. Oh my god, I
Thank
can't wait to talk about the Gray Man. That one, okay.
Yes, that's
Uh,
next week. Next week is the
yeah,
Grey Man. We got Bullet Train the week after that, Rogue One the week after that, and then we're going to do The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings in the next 2 weeks. So, really exciting stuff coming up. Yeah, year 3 will also be a blast. We got some great things coming up there. But yeah, 100 episodes. Thank you, everyone. I got to also thank Zane, who does our thumbnails. They have just gone from strength to strength. They look
they have
incredible.
been amazing. They have been so top notch with with the
Absolutely.
drawings and like they fit everything for the thumbnail. So give
Yeah.
it to you, man.
Definitely. Yes. I also have to thank my university professor who told me to edit the podcasts because I feel like they're so much better now because I do edit them. So thanks, Steve.
Yes. Thanks, Steve. I don't know who you are. Thank you
Yeah,
for
you don't need to know,
telling
Steve.
us. Thank you, Steve.
But there we go.
There we go.
Here's to another 100 episodes.
Yeah, baby.
And you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Outstime Film Pod and send us an email with your questions. Tell us your thoughts on Lightyear. Ask us any questions about anything and we will read it out here on the pod at outstimefilmpod@gmail.com.
And thank you for listening. We talked about Lightyear. I'm not gonna say we enjoyed it because there's some episodes that we did not enjoy about stuff like you can have a look. And yeah, thank you. Subscribe and like if you want to share some of the stuff. And yeah, be safe, be good, and you can watch Lightyear, but it's not that great. Anyway, so
don't waste your time.
Don't watch it. But if there's something really special that's happened, Comic Con. So if something
Comic-Con.
special happens, we'll talk about it. All
God,
right.
it's gonna be John. It's gonna be so depressing if it doesn't happen. I'm gonna be so upset.
I'm using copium to help me. Just like just get me through the pain.
Oh man.
Thank you for listening again. All right. Take what you're given.
Give nothing back.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.